Listen to that crowd. Nick Quinones, Nick here, coming for AWS for a purpose. He and the gentleman coming out to face him, as you hear the crowd love Nick here in Orangeburg, South Carolina. But they're also going to love the guy that's coming out next. He is a local hometown hero here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, as the winner of this matchup gets a shot at the All-Star Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight Champion, Curtis Black. Those of you who know of the ASWA, the greatest wrestling council in America, with several chapters, including AWS as the head chapter in South Carolina, with many branches to Florida, to Texas, to Mexico, to even Puerto Rico, Georgia, West Virginia, North Carolina. They're everywhere. The ASWA. And Lazarus Black is no stranger to holding titles. He himself, a former XCW, Excalibur Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And he is not mentioned on this program because GWL has not got their charter in the ASWA at this moment. But in the future, they will be a charter for the ASWA. GWL, the Global Wrestling League. And Lazarus Black, a multi-time tag team champion, a former AWS tag team champion with Ryan Manis in the Black Society, and Nick Quinones himself, a champion everywhere he's been. He has traveled all over, far and wide. He has come here to Orangeburg, South Carolina, to the capacity crowd, as we keep mentioning. Please come and watch AWS live, folks. I am telling you, there is nothing more spectacular than watching the superstars of AWS in Orangeburg, South Carolina, as tonight, right here at Aftershocks, for your viewing pleasure, Nick Quinones taking on Lazarus Black. An international matchup, to say the least. The winner will get a shot at the wrestling body, the Council of Professional Wrestling, the premier council of American professional wrestling, the indie league's boss, as they would say, the council that runs it all. If they're not a member of the ASWA, they're not worth watching. And AWS is a member of the All-Star Wrestling Alliance, and the All-Star Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion, the God of War, Curtis Black, will be in Orangeburg, South Carolina on the December 3rd for the ASWA Massacre Before Christmas to defend his title against one or the other of Lazarus Black and Nick Quinones. The winner of this match will go to face the God of War for the charity event, the Toys for Tots Toy Drive, the Nightmare Before Christmas here in Orangeburg, South Carolina. As this matchup here, Nick here spinning Lazarus around and around. Lazarus not used to being put down and slowed down, because Lazarus is a no-nonsense, in-your-face, all over the place. Mario Manucci here, calling you the best of the best, because I'm the host with the most, who brings you the best from coast to coast, week in and week out, doesn't matter. AWS 5-star Global Wrestling League, CMW of the All-Star Wrestling Alliance. If it's here in Orangeburg, I am your man. And remember, I am coming out of retirement, in 2023, Mario Mamucci will step back in this ring. He will go through those ropes, and he's going to show a few people a thing or two as this matchup between two of the best in the business today, Nick Quinones and Lazarus Black, an arm drag. Nick tired of the games here, and it seems like Lazarus is having to check the arm here. I think he almost dislocated some. Referees checking back and forth. As we said, folks, if you're missing AWS Live, you are missing out on an absolute spectacular show of the best there is of wrestling in the Carolinas, because week in and week out we're bringing the best around the country. We don't just get Orangeburg local favorites. We don't just get the next door in North Carolina. We don't just get those guys to the west of us in Georgia, but we have stars from Puerto Rico. We have people from New York City. We got people coming in from Texas. We got people coming in from California. We even have the Sheik returning. What I've heard, that he is in works to get his contract re-signed, and maybe the international crazy wild man from Syria himself, the Sheik Akbar Bashar, will be returning to AWS. Multiple wrestlers from all over. Folks, you are missing out. Look at this match we have right up here for you. Nick Quinones and Lazarus Black. Here, shotgun drop kick, almost sending Nick to the other side of the world. He's about to send Nick packing back to where he came from. And Lazarus Black, he does not have a problem sending anyone anywhere they need to go. And here we go. Cannonball in the corner. That may be lights out for Nick. A drag out. Should be going for the cover. And he is. And that's a kick out. Barely a kick out. That was like an eighth of a millisecond from being three, as Lazarus forearms viciously to the back of the head of Nick. This is grotesque. This is not MMA. This is professional wrestling. And now he's crushing his hand, stomping his foot hand. Lazarus being super aggressive, I believe. Lazarus wants that title shot against the God of War, Curtis Black, December the 3rd in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Details to come. High cross body block. Both of these guys going the distance with each other. And the veteran that is Lazarus Black. Ring awareness at all times, reaching for the ropes. I'd like to also mention that earlier tonight and throughout our broadcast, the grotesque and the heinous attacks from what has become, and that was a vicious Russian leg sweep. And I thought that was it, only a 2 count, but the vicious assaults from what has become known as the new generation, the NG, the Forum Alliance, brought on by Scott Pierce as he brung out Cat Daddy at the open of our show. And Cat Daddy bringing out one by one as we're watching Nick here lightning. Wow, out of the corner like he was nothing. Vicious Nick was. Nick cannot believe that was 2. I can't believe it was 2. I thought that should have been 3. Lazarus laid out, laid to the side. He was done. But the warrior that is Lazarus Black does not stop fighting. And he kicked out with what he had left. He is a fighting warrior. Lazarus is one of those guys that you would almost have to kill to pin, or close enough to it, as we said. Cat Daddy bringing them out one by one. KMD, the Dominican Republic Prince, And KL3 the Savage, who I must say has got a contract that got signed early this week to have a heavyweight title matchup against the guy that he viciously assaulted at our last event, High Voltage, Eric the Savior Riker, the AWS, and a miss of the roundhouse kick, side suplex. There was no one home for that beautiful roundhouse kick, and Nick capitalizing with a vicious, I must say, twice side suplex as the referee getting up high in the counts, waiting for these two guys to get up. Cat Daddy and the new generation KL3 tonight has his heavyweight title shot against, and roaring elbow out of nowhere. That may be it for Nick. As said, KL3 heavyweight title with Eric Riker later tonight. And the final member that was added in, the Mastodon, the Beast himself, the king of the super heavyweights, Big Rick. No special name, Big Rick says enough. When you see the size of this guy, you will be struck in awe. And there's a miss on the patented Swanton bomb. And what a devastation for Riker, as this matchup here has really went everywhere. Discus clothesline, and this may be all it needs to put him away. And that's it. Lazarus not able to kick out. He went for the Swanton bomb and bombed out. And Nick smart enough to capitalize with that vicious, sick discus clothesline. And Nick Quinones has won this #1 contendership to face the ASWA, the All-Star Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight Champion of the World, the God of War, Lazarus Black, coming December 3rd in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Folks, you have got to get down here. Make sure if you're coming, get your tickets earlier. You get $3 off if you buy them a week in advance. If you buy them the day of the show, it's only $8 for adults. Kids 13 and under are free. But if you call in the day before as a show of sportsmanship between these two great warriors and Lazarus nodding off to him, Nick Quinones will be facing the God of War in December at the Massacre Before Christmas. And this night has been great here at Aftershocks.